Hi Nanglings, it's Friday. Slowly but surely, I've been reading this book, which people took an interest in last time I talked about it, and there was one page that when I read it, I thought it would be a really good thing if I read it to you guys and then talked about it because it was really interesting. "You're missing the point," she said. "What you're saying makes sense in theory, but not in practice. You're trying to compare apples and oranges." "Why do you keep saying that?" he asked in response. "Apples and oranges aren't that different, really. I mean, they're both fruit, their weight is extremely similar, they both contain acidic elements, they're both roughly spherical, they both serve the same social purpose. With the possible exception of a tangerine, I can't think of anything more similar to an orange than an apple. If I was having lunch with a man who was eating an apple, and while I was looking away, he replaced that apple with an orange, I doubt I'd even notice. So how is this metaphor for difference? I could understand if you said that's like comparing apples and uranium, or that's like comparing apples with baby wolverines, or that's like comparing apples with the early work of Raymond Carver, or that's like comparing apples with hermaphroditic ground sloths. Those would all be valid examples of profound disparity, but not apples and oranges. In every meaningful way, they're virtually identical." "You're missing the point," she said again, this time for different reasons. This is a prime example of why I love Chuck Klosterman's writing, because it's just like so great and so spot on. First of all, I found this extremely hilarious. His sense of humor is great, but also I thought it was interesting what he was saying about comparisons and how we make comparisons in general. People use analogies and metaphors and similes to take something that you're familiar with and help you apply that prior knowledge to something you're less familiar with or you don't understand. But sometimes those analogies aren't helpful or aren't necessary. I just got like extremely cold, so I'm gonna put on a sweater, and I'm only explaining this to you because otherwise I would jump cut to when it's on and you would be like, when did that get there? And then anyway, here we go. The reason I find that people use metaphors instead of describing something in a more concrete way is that we lack the vocabulary to adequately explain something. The other day I tried to explain the word facetious to my friend Luciano, and English isn't his first language, and it wouldn't even matter necessarily if English was his first language because I don't think I would be able to explain that word to a native English speaker. He said he had no idea what that meant, and I said the closest synonym I could think of was sarcastic, but that didn't quite capture the exact meaning of it. Even when we can use comparisons, I said, facetious is like sarcastic, but not quite. We still lack the language sometimes to accurately portray something, so we have to use these comparisons that also aren't always accurate. I love what Chuck Klosterman wrote, though, about how trying to portray difference would be much better if she compared apples to uranium. The thing is, it's okay to use a phrase like it's comparing apples to oranges because we know that idiomatically it's portraying difference, and really the whole point of language is communication. That's all I have for today. Zach, I'll see you tomorrow.